Hey guys, so this is the daily analysis of the Hindu for today, that is 24th of January 2017, and it will be presented to you by me, Dipanshu Singh. So you can read more about me on this slide. You can also follow me on Academy on this link to get updates on my courses, on my videos. And guys, please rate and review the course. If you like the video, please give us 5 stars and recommend each and every video. It hardly takes a second. Just recommend each and every video so we can reach out to maximum number of people. And so the practice question for today is regarding which of the following countries are members of the East African community. These are your options. So mention your answers in the comment sections below. And then answer for yesterday's question is: the National Voters Day is celebrated in India on 25th of January every year. Now, the first page news is that drones will be used to track to track the people's movement on railway tracks and to boost safety. So, the Western Railway is close to finalizing a plan to deploy small unmanned aerial vehicles, that UAVs, which will be used to monitor the tracks and cut the number of train hit deaths due to trespassing in Mumbai, because the death toll along Mumbai rail tracks was 3,304 in 2015 and 3,349 persons were injured. So the application will be through the live view from the UAV will be monitored at the control room of RPF, that is the Railway Protection Force, where CCTV cameras are also watched, and the drone will also keep an eye on trespassing, which we cannot easily detect as we don't have CCTV cameras available at all places. And therefore this new system will actually map real locations and vulnerable places on the Western Railway. Now, the Election Commission wants no new schemes for poll-bound states in budget. So finally, the Supreme Court has given a green signal to the presentation of the annual budget for the central government, because there was a petition and a PIL regarding deferring the budget to later dates due to the elections in the 4 or 5 poll-bound states. So the Election Commission has directed the central government not to announce schemes which are specific to these poll-bound states in the general union budget. Generally, what the government will do, generally the central governments, what will they do to benefit their political parties? They will announce certain schemes which are beneficial for the people of that particular state, supposedly for electoral gains. So the Election Commission asked central government, and they will scrutiny and monitor the announcements in the budget, and also that the government's achievement in respect of the said 5 states, that these 5 states are UP, Goa, Punjab, Manipur, and Uttarakhand, would also not to be highlighted in any manner. So they will not. Also, they do not need to also highlight the achievements done in these 5 states if in their annual presentation of the budget. This is basically on an advisory of 2009, which was cited by the Election Commission to all the states and union territories on introduction of the budget 2910, in which it had advised that in cases of poll-going states, a vote on account should always be taken. The next one is a new practice which will be implemented to segregate and manage the solid waste in Bengaluru. So, unable to force the segregation of waste at source or run the processing plants without citizens' protest, the city's planners basically from Bengaluru have come forward with the idea to transport the waste to be transported on a train that is 100 kilometers away. So, the Karnataka's Compost Development Corporation has identified 1,000-acre land at 3 locations to set up the waste parks, where they will invite private parties to invest in waste processing technologies. And the waste management, as you all know, has become a orangutan, a very big and a problematic issue with last year's incidents of Mumbai's dumping ground caught fire and raising respiratory problems. This was in news for past 3-4 months in last year regarding the burning of the waste near Chembur and other landfill sites. And on almost every waste dumping site in municipality, one can see blatant disregard for the waste management rules of 2010. They have been amended and new waste management rules have been applied. Even that is not implemented properly. And there are problems like encroachment, zero buffer zone, fire, groundwater contamination, safety of rag pickers are also faced at every landfill. And the waste management rules actually calls for segregation of dry and wet waste at source, but that is being hardly implemented in most of the cities across India. But also the government is unable to pursue citizens not to do so, and thus adding more landfills than their responsibility. And plastic and metal are the main source of pollution among dry waste, which ends at incinerator, causing damage to environment. So if you want to know what all technologies are used to co-generate electricity and power and energy resources from incinerator and other based technology of waste generation to energy, you can watch my Hindu summary and editorial analysis of previous week, where we covered in detail on how to segregate the waste and what all technologies are used to generate energy from the waste. So therefore, our state policy should discourage landfills, as due to methane plastic they are prone to environmental damaging fires. The next is news is from that the private schools will need government nod and government's approval before hiking fees. This is as per Supreme Court's order. So Supreme Court has actually declined to hear appeal of private unaided schools that were built on land allocated by Delhi Development Authority. So the Delhi High Court in its earlier order had actually said that the private unaided schools cannot turn to profiteering and commercialism on the land provided by the government, that is by DDA. Thus, they had to take a prior consent of the government before hiking the fees. So this can be a big boost to inclusion of economically backward students in private education system, because they're already flouting of norms of the right to education by the private unaided schools. And on the other hand, a lot needs to be done at private higher education system. Kerala's chief minister and now the former minister had raised the concerns about rotten private higher education system. And if you look at in Kerala, the post from peon to teacher is sold, and the high demand of fees in admissions. So therefore, State Vigilance and Anti-Corruption Bureau has been asked to keep a close look at the education sector in Kerala. So this is a good move by the state, which has among the highest literacy rates in the country. Now there will be a new vaccine to actually guard against spread of fake news. So scientists have finally developed a psychological sort of vaccine to immunize public against spreading of damaging virus of fake news and misinformation in the era of post-truth. So post-truth is obviously the word of the year as per Oxford Dictionary. So usually in medical term, vaccination means to expose body to a weakened version of the virus or strain of virus, so that no threat is posed to the body, but however it gains resistance at the same time. So the researchers believe that the similar logic can be also applied that is inoculate the public against the misinformation, including damaging influence of fake news websites propagating myths about climate change. And the basic idea is to provide cognitive repertoire that helps build resistance to misinformation. So this will be a kind of a sort of a vaccine that builds resistance against false news. So news that is low on substance and high on emotion can be actually fatal to democracy. So therefore, autocratic regimes, on the other hand, like one in the North Korea, can actually they actually use this propaganda to sustain their rule. Now, international news is that UAE has signaled a Look East policy. The United Arab Emirates is likely to highlight its Look East policy by participating on Republic Day parade. So India is going from look East to Act East, so that is the South Asian nations, to Look West policy. And similarly, the UAE is hinting towards a Look East policy towards Indian and South Asian region. So the presence of the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and participation of the marching contingent in Republic Day celebrations of the army would indicate its willingness to play an important role in the region. So troops participation would actually embody the Look East policy of the UAE and the Gulf Cooperation Council. And the UAE is actually modernizing its military since 2011, as it is one of the 5 biggest arms importer. Along with Qatar, it is spread out in several conflict zones. So their presence of troops in India is a vital part of GCC's effort to exercise regional influence in the vacuum left by Arab Spring and to counter similar threats by Iran. And the US's interest in Middle East has actually reduced its discovery of shale gas on one hand. So the reapproachment with Iran on the other has actually led to this increasing cooperation of the Middle East countries towards India and the South Asian region. So therefore, this Look East policy is instruments to counterbalance the dependence on the West. There has been a continuous Indian presence in UAE since at least the 18th century. And today, actually, Indians make up to 30% of the country's population. This is the single largest expatriate community in the UAE. And the other news is that sailor Lisa Blair, who is an Australian woman who has set off from the Australian town of Albany to create a world record for being the first woman to circumnavigate Antarctica solo and non-stop and unassisted in less than 100 days. So once she does that, we'll cover the news in detail. And business page news. So India has rejected attempts by European Union, Canada for global investment agreement. So India, along with Brazil, Argentina, and some other nations, had rejected an informal attempt by EU and Canada to work towards global investment agreement at WTO level that would actually incorporate contentious investor-state dispute settlement mechanisms. So this mechanism has actually becomes the bone of contention because it drags the government to international arbitration without exhausting local remedies and claims huge compensation, citing losses they suffer due to reasons such as the policy changes. So therefore, these provisions as at most can also be a part of bilateral agreement rather than multilateral agreement. So this was the issue for which India India has rejected the attempt of these countries. And policy making is actually prerogative or the right of the executive, and had to be made according to the welfare required for the citizens of the sovereign state. It cannot be subjected to be driven up by demands of market or by the requirement of foreign investors. So India has its own sovereign right to make welfare policies, and to make economic policies for looking towards the welfare of its citizens. And the trade ministers of developing countries were against the global investment agreement mooted by these countries, that is EU, Canada, on sidelines of the World Economic Forum meeting at Davos, Switzerland. So Donald Trump has signaled that he will pull out US of the TPP. So he has actually going to sign the executive order. So as he had signaled in pre-poll announcement that he will pull out the US of TPP, because he said that making good on a pledge to scrap a deal, he announced this TPP as a job killer, and he called this withdrawal as a great thing for the American worker. So if you look at the TPP is headed by the US and includes countries like Australia, Brunei, Canada, Chile, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Singapore, and Vietnam. And it would actually have set new terms for trade and business investment among the United States and 11 other Pacific Rim nations. So now, since US is pulling out of the TPP, we have to see what is going to turn up for the other countries who are currently working towards this Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. So this is it for today, guys. I hope you like the video. So till next video, do rate and review the course and recommend each and every video. So you just have to recommend these videos so we can reach out to maximum number of people. So till next video, thank you so much and have a good day.